Evening, everyone. It's the lads down the lane. We're here for a great show. Hopefully, anyway. How are we, chaps? We're back. It's the lads down the lane.
That's a great intro as well. Thank you, Nigel, for doing that.
Yeah, Nige, brilliant stuff.
That's
What
all
a
right.
fantastic
As
intro.
always.
Great stuff. Well, we're just here to chat a bit, I suppose, about the old days, what's coming. Just a show for the people for a while. How are we all, everyone?
Yeah, all's good, man. All is very good. I have really no idea what's been going on with Tottenham.
Yeah,
I've
that makes two of us, really. I haven't,
not really seen anything. I've heard Eze probably ain't coming anymore. And who was the other one? Mbuemo? Is he going to Man United or has he gone there yet?
Close to it. I
That
think.
way.
Is it?
Mm.
But I heard we did sign some 15-year-old or that? 6'3" lad. I ain't got a clue
Japanese
what
guy.
his name was. Ain't got a clue.
I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
No.
I haven't
Was he
really
15 or 16 or 18 or I don't know?
28. He's 20, I think.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Is he?
20-year-old Japanese centre back.
I was going to say, is that the centre back fella from Japan or something? Out that way.
I think that's the one Mark's on about.
I ain't got a clue. Honestly, I don't know. I've been to work. I was working away. Really don't know.
Deep
So
joy.
Tottenham's,
How was Watford? How did you find it?
well, we was working at night, mate, so we couldn't go out at night, but it was all right.
Yeah. It's all right then.
Yeah, it was all right. Like, it's like I couldn't believe the shops up there. You know, there were shops that sold like designer gear and that. You know, like there was one called Flannels. Do you know that, Mark? You said you used to live there.
Flannels, yeah.
Flannels. I had to go out there, man. I went in the shop and there was like shirts in there like 150, 200 quid. I said, just take me out of it.
Trying to
My
remember.
caravan would be gone.
Yeah, there's a big old shopping centre there, isn't there?
Yeah, my goodness. I just
don't know
couldn't.
what it is now, but yeah,
There's
big old
like
centre there.
shops that you just don't see down this way.
No.
Sold like sensible clothes. Of course, there was a Primarni, no?
Yeah.
Always Prime Arnie.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a Primarni there, but like some of the other shops you went in, like Hugo Boss stuff, like Ralph Lauren stuff, like all these other like label brands. I'd never even heard of half of them, you know. But like, I went in the Ralph Lauren section of one, and I thought, no, just take me out of it. I can't cope with it.
We didn't pay those prices.
Yeah, certainly not. Take me to a charity shop, might be in there for £4.
How have you been, Nige?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Like
Yeah,
you say,
good.
not a lot going on, is there, at Tottenham at the moment? Yeah, I thought I'd do a thing and have a shave, and realise quarter of the way through shaving that it was a big mistake, so left the rest on. Probably take it off tomorrow morning.
You gone for the old Tom Selleck look there, Nige?
Yeah, the old handlebar look.
That's it.
Yeah. Have you got a Ferrari?
No,
What,
I haven't
the
got the women
Testarossa
either.
thing outside?
No, or the perm. So
Yeah.
Well, I've got no doubt we'll get on to the current day football, but we are the lads from down the lane, and I think the three of us have come up with this just so we can chat about bits and bobs of old times and, you know, maybe not so old times, and just have a general chin wag, if you like, in the whole scheme of things, I suppose you'd put it.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, you know, Mark, Nige, give me a memory from back in the day. And let's not talk oddle, because we know we're all oddle-ites.
Yeah.
So let's think of something else back in the day. Question one. mud in the pub. What is your most, I don't know, memory that sticks in your mind more than anything? From whether you was a kid and you'd gone down to the Spurs, or I don't know, the smell of the hot dogs, getting that program
Yeah.
for the first time, that
Mhm.
type of thing. I don't know.
Right, I got one that sticks in my mind. I can't even remember. My dad always used to take me near my birthday. Whatever game was close to my birthday, the
Yeah.
old lane. He'd
Yeah.
always take me like beginning of October, when my birthday is. He'd always take me up one near then. And I went to one, and we were like, because I was only like, I was probably 9 or 10,
Yeah.
8, 9, 10, something like that. And we were stood east lower, but towards the Paxton end, sort of that end of the ground, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
towards it, like we was there somewhere,
Yeah.
not the shelf end, but like my dad sent me down the front where the fences were,
Yeah.
right, and I still couldn't see because there was like massive blokes and that all stood at the front. I went back to find him, and of course there was all the jostling about with the crowd. I couldn't find him. I went up to a copper and I said, "Look, I'm lost. Can't find my dad." He's like, "Oh, come with me." Took me to the lost kids bit, name, where you come from. He knew I wasn't from London. I don't know why, but whatever. And he took me inside the fences, other end of the ground, just sort of below the shelf on that corner
Yeah.
in the corner flag there. There was a St John's ambulance bench, and I sat on the St John's ambulance bench the whole game. Right, and announcement at half time. You know, so and so from Somerset, we have your son, he's safe and all that. He come wandering down the touchline, see me, he said, "You all right?" I said, "Yeah." So I don't see the game here. He said, "Right, I'll be back at full time to get you." In the second half, Tottenham were kicking towards like the Park Lane end.
Yeah.
The ball come rolling, and we had a corner. Ball come rolling over at my feet. I just bent down and picked the ball up, lifted my head like that. And I know you said we're not allowed to talk about him, but Glenn was stood right in front of me.
There you go.
It was like a vision of God that appeared in front of me. You know, because the floodlights were on, you know, October time, it starts getting dark. So floodlights were on, and it was just his head was like enveloped. It's like he had a halo. You know, and I thought, you truly are God.
Was it one of them, Mark? There you go, God. That's
Yeah.
the ball.
Literally, like my head went down to pick the ball up. I picked it up, and he was just stood right in front of me with the floodlights behind him because he blocked them all out, and there was like a halo around his head. And I was just speechless, absolutely speechless. It was like a vision that appeared in front of me. It's like, you truly are the Messiah.
You weren't wrong.
No.
You weren't wrong,
Yeah.
mate.
That's
You did.
that is the end of Lads from the Lane. Thank you very much.
Right,
Join
good
us
night.
next week.
Good
I
night.
can't keep up with that.
Thanks for tuning in.
And
Please like and subscribe.
how am
Go
I
on,
supposed to
mate.
match that?
I don't know. You can't, can you? You can't match that.
No, no. Is so my biggest, well, one of my, it's not my best memory, but it's a big memory, would be I went to Bristol Rovers Tottenham. It was a friendly match. It might have been a centenary game.
I thought you were going to say the
At,
9-0 game, Nudge.
no, I went to, it was at Rovers. So when they played at, what's the old ground? They used to
Memorial.
play at? Was it the Memorial? I can't remember
Memorial
now.
Ground or whatever it
Well,
was called.
Bristol Rovers spent time at Bath's ground, didn't they?
Yeah, they played at Twerton for quite a while, but
Yeah,
it's before
Turnham
then.
Park, right? Yeah.
It's when they had their own stadium still. So anyway, we went there, but as a kid, I used to get really, really car sick. Literally, we'd go down the street and I'd throw up. So I threw up all the way there. My dad wasn't happy. And then we got there. I can remember my dad took my granddad as well. And there's a couple of us kids, and we run to the front to the terraces to get a good view. And I can remember looking round, and my granddad was a bit doddery then, as it was like, you know what, like this terraces was like steps, aren't they, going
Yeah.
down?
Yeah.
Typically, being my granddad, like trips on the first step and rolls all the way down to the bottom. It's like, oh bloody hell, here we go. But yeah, I can remember that. I can remember Tottenham winning 4-3. I think John Lacey scored a goal. And then I can remember throwing up all the way back. So yeah, that's a memory that sticks with me. It's not a particularly good one, but
Dad's Paul Cortina was like plaster.
yeah, pretty much.
Projectile stuff.
Yeah.
It would have Cortina as well. Red one.
That was a good guess, wasn't
It
it?
was, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
either going to be a Cortina or a Granada. Wasn't it? That was a family cars.
Yeah. Marina, my dad had as well. Was it Morris Marina?
Yeah, Morris.
Nice.
Marina,
Yeah.
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 What about you then, boss? Come on.
Me, I suppose one of the going back. I'm trying to remember what season it was. It was we played. It was back in the day. I don't know if it was 77 or 78. It might have been a bit earlier than that, to be fair. I know that the last two games of the season, I'm sure it was, we played two home games, Chelsea, and I'm sure it was Leeds, unless I've got the seasons mixed up and they were two separate seasons. But anyway, I remember my dad was desperate to go to the game. I think we was close to relegation or very close to relegation at the time. And was desperate to go to the game. Well, my dad especially. I was only a nipper. And he couldn't get us in the ground. So anyway, he says to me, get that scarf off from around your neck, get it in your pocket. He said, we're going in the away end. He said, that's the only place we can get in. Now, this is when football was, where back in the day. Do you know what I mean? It was like, could be nasty. I end up sitting in the Park Lane with a load of Chelscombe with my old man. You can imagine, I'm a little kid. So when I think it was 4-2 or so, I'm sure it was 4-2 we won. And because every time we scored, I'm jumping. I'm jumping up, and and he's going.
You a popular man.
He's going to be sit down. But it was quite interesting, to be that young and you jump up and all these heads just go whack.
Yeah. I have got another story, but it's not about Tottenham. So my best mate growing up was a massive Man United fan, and he was a year older than me. So he was at this point. He always used to go up, usually with his like stepdad, but his stepdad couldn't go to this game. So he's like, "Well, you can take the ticket if you want, Nige." And my mate was 14, I was 13. And they were like, you're going up on the coach, you're going straight to the ground, you'll be fine. And it was actually an away game at West Ham. So it was West Ham Man United back in like 83, 84, something like that. Might have been a bit later. And so we get on this coach and we go up. And as we're on the outskirts of London, the coach breaks down. So everyone piles out. And you've got to remember, these are all staunch United fans, drinking all the way up, singing songs that swear words that I've never heard before in my life. And so we're stuck. It's like, what are we going to do? So my mate's like, well, we've got all the hardcore fans are like, we're getting to the game somehow. So we're just like, we'll follow them. And these blokes, to be fair, are fine. They're like, yeah, you stick with us, lads. We'll get you in. It's fine. You got your tickets. And we were running through fields. We were running through streets I've never seen before. We were getting on tubes, and there was West Ham fans on the other side and United fans on this side, all chanting at each other. As you know what it was like in the 70s and 80s. It was pretty horrific at times.
It's pretty rough.
Somehow we got to the game. God knows how. I can just remember walking into, obviously, the away end with the United fans. And obviously it was all terracing. And just to look on so many United fans who's we were walking in, it's almost like, what are these kids here for? They shouldn't be out. And it was it was an experience. It was an experience. But United won 3-1, so it was quite good. We didn't we didn't get into any trouble. And the coach was waiting when we finished. So they'd fixed it.
I was going to say, you didn't get beat up then, Nige.
No.
That was a
but it
bonus
was,
back in the 70s, wasn't it?
yeah, it was terrifying, but fun at the same time.
Yeah.
My old man would never take me to White Hart Lane. He said, I will never take you to like the games where he thought there was going to be trouble. Like, he'd never take me to a London derby. He used to take me to games like, I don't know, Wolves. You know, somewhere where their fans never really had there was never really any much chance of trouble. You know, teams like that, sort of Sheffield Wednesday or something like whoever was in the league with Tottenham at the time, the games, he'd certainly never take me to North London Derby, Chelsea, Millwall, West Ham, any games like that where it's almost, well, it's not if there was going to be trouble, it's when there's going to be trouble. You know, because the 70s and 80s, some of the young people, they don't really understand what it was like. You know, it was crazy. Even some of the games that my dad took me to, like what he thought was the quiet games, I saw things that, honestly, they're fighting, scrapping, like horses everywhere. That was a common thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It really was.
I took my son because I got a mate who works for Chelsea. So he's one of the first team masseuses. And every now and again, he'd be like, if you want to come up, watch Chelsea, come up. And it's like, oh, okay. Anyway, I took my son up quite a few years ago now to when Chelsea were like winning leagues. And they had United. I think it was one of the last games in the season. And United and Chelsea were going for the league. I think Chelsea won 1-0 with like an Eden Hazard goal. And I went out with my son. I went out with Charlie, who was probably 12 at the time. When we come out, bloody hell, there's so much trouble. Like you say, horses everywhere. There was United fans on the floor with like blood pouring out of their heads. United away, like fans in the bus. The Chelsea fans were rocking the bus. I literally had to grab Charlie and just like push him, just keep walking, don't stop.
Yeah. Well, you got to remember that would have been in 2000s, man.
Yeah.
Go back to the 80s and 90s.
11, 12.
Well, you go back to the 70s and 80s, and it was craziness what used to go on at the football. Anyway, I've completely forgot. Should we go through the comments?
Yeah, Mark, go.
We haven't even done this yet. My goodness, you can tell we're a bit out of practice, and I've had a couple of Amstels. Right, let's see who's first. CEM. Good evening, sir.
Evening,
You're
sir.
going home in the London ambulance. Well, there we go. Have you ever done that, mate? Mark, you're from London.
Yeah, back in the day. Back in the day.
Yeah, the Ricky Villa goal. I take it he means the 81.
Yeah, great goal that was.
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah. Still shown on the telly when it's FA Cup day, innit?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was brilliant, mate. Brilliant.
Was used to go to White Hart Lane as a youngster. Yeah. Park Lane, silk scarf.
Yeah.
You know, when Tottenham won the FA Cup in 1981, I was at junior school,
Yeah.
I was at junior school, and my dad let me wear his silk Tottenham scarf to school. I went there thinking, like, there'd be loads of Tottenham. No, it was just me. Just me in the whole year supported Tottenham. Everyone else, Liverpool. Everyone I went to school with was Liverpool fans. They won everything back then. There was a few Man United fans, a couple of Leeds fans, because Leeds were a big team in the 70s.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, I used to have sweatbands.
Yeah. I think we all had them, didn't we?
Yeah, the old Spurs thing used to rub off quite quickly, didn't it?
Yeah, it did on the silk scarves as well, didn't it?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
remember, Mark, after a while, if
Yeah.
you kept wearing them, where they rubbing on your collar or your neck or whatever,
I remember my old man silk scarf was a bit like faded. Some of the letters, some of the Tottenham lettering had like sort of started to vanish. Oh, CEM was at the 9-0, the Bristol Rovers game.
Yeah, me too. I was there. I was in the Paxton against the Metal Bar, and I specifically remember Colin Lee rising like a salmon from, I can't even remember who crossed it because I was about 10 at the time. Probably less than that. No, 9 or 10. Yeah, but I remember him. Yeah, I was there. I was there too. It was good.
That was second division game, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the year after we got relegated. So I was at 78. 78,
Well,
79.
we came back up in 78, I think.
Whatever it was. Yeah, it was around
Yeah,
there.
it must have been. We came back up in 78
Yeah,
because in the summer, Ozzy and Ricky had arrived
that's
because the
it.
World Cup was in the off season, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, 77,
Sava
78.
is never wrong.
Big up, Sava is never wrong.
Big up, 77.
Big up. Please subscribe and like and all that stuff.
I wonder who that is.
Oh, dear.
Oh, yes.
Who?
Yes. Oh, that was that one. I don't know. I was too drunk. That was Mud in the Pub, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
That
And then we
Geezer's
just-
in
Those
again.
likes people.
Yeah,
Yes.
Geezer's in again. I don't know who he is.
Scott M.
Scott is in.
Another
Another
back. Yeah.
Got
Well, you
Nige to thank for that, Scott.
Yes. You thank Nige for that.
Like a bit of country.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Was that Wolves?
Mm.
Oh, hang on, man.
Wasn't it?
There's a comment coming in a minute, mate.
All right, all the way from Benidorm.
All the way from Benidorm.
Yeah.
Here we go. I'll let you do on this one, mate.
Hope you're having a good time.
That's Mrs. Mark.
That's it. Big up Mrs. Mark's sister as well, Suzanne, and the mother-in-law. Hope you're all having a good time, and Phil as well.
The house is clean. Everything's in order. No
That's
problem.
it. Everything's, just how you left it. Yeah.
But should we move on?
Yeah, we'll do it.
Move on.
What's wrong with
Let's
that?
move on.
Oh, here we hang on, mate.
Oh, look.
Yeah, look.
There's more, all the love in the house for me tonight, see? What can I say?
Look at this, mate.
Yeah.
I reckon you might have pulled there, mate.
Miss you too, sweetheart. There you go.
I reckon you might have pulled there.
Yeah, I might have done. I've got a last Red Bull, so that's all right.
Oh, you're bad. That's it now. The haters start coming in now.
I've got 4 days to go get some more.
Is that our last Red Bull, though?
No, it's not.
He says lying. But it's like you said, you've got 4 days to go down shop and get some more.
Fine. It's all good.
Audio's in as well.
Oh, he is. Yeah, audio. Big up, mate.
Audio.
Big up, mate. Big up. Yeah, good to see you.
That's the bottom of the chat, mate. Right, now.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
I got a question for you guys.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, go on, Nige.
What is the best goal you've ever seen scored at White Hart Lane?
Oh, has it got to be a Wild Lane?
It hasn't got to be. No, okay. Best Spurs goal you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to. It's not. You can watch it on TV. It's all good.
Hang on. Before you answer, boss.
All right, Lisa, don't worry. I saw it at least. It's all right. Go on, Mark. What was you going to say?
Oh. Well, I thought you had an answer, mate.
What's that?
The best goal you've ever seen.
Oh, I thought you meant about the hoovering. No.
No. It's nothing to do with me, mate. I don't want to drop you in the crap.
I'm going for.
You've actually seen mine, not on the TV.
87 odd against Oxford. When he left his last goal. What a goal.
Oh, that one.
Oh, what a goal that was. What a goal.
Was you there? Was you?
I was there, yeah, man. I was up in the shelf. Yeah.
Now, you've told me many stories, mate, and I don't want to prompt you here.
Yeah.
I believe you were at Watford for the famous Hoddle Shed.
Oh, yeah, I mean, Nige said at
Good
White.
work behind it.
I picked that one, but yeah, I was at Watford for the Watford goal. I was only a kid for that one as well. That was the best, as in the best goal, just for doing that Cruyff turn and chipping a 6'6" goalkeeper made him look 3'2". It was just the most amazing, elegant goal that I've ever seen. And I haven't, I mean, you know, you see bangers and you see team goals and you see, but for individual brilliance, that was the best goal. And to actually be there, I was at the right level as well. You know, I was standing at pitch level behind the bar there, and it was literally, he was there and I was right behind him. So I saw the whole thing, the turn. It's just I've watched it so many times over the years as well, you know. But for me, that was, Glenn Hoddle against Watford, best goal I think I've seen live. Yeah, definitely.
I do want to. What? And you said you was at the goal against Oxford as well, weren't you? That was his last goal for.
Yeah.
See, I was at none of these.
Yeah. Yeah, when he picked the ball up just inside our, well, it's sort of in between the 18-yard box and the halfway line. And the defender come towards him. He nutmegged him, ran past him, then had clear space to run into. I think there were two defenders closing in on him, and he just managed to jink his way through. And then it one-on-one against the keeper, and he faked a chip to go over his other side and didn't even touch the ball.
He sat him down, didn't he?
Just sat him down and just rolled it in the net, mate. And
he didn't even touch. If you notice, the ball is rolling, and he's like with it. He fakes.
That's it. Yeah.
He sits the keeper on his backside.
Yeah.
The ball keeps rolling past the keeper, and he just taps it in.
Yeah.
He didn't even beat him with a touch, did he?
It's just, yeah.
No, it was magical.
I mean, you know, we've seen loads of goals. Gazza's banger against Arsenal. I don't think anyone would ever take that away from him. Do you know
Was you there for that, mate?
What a strike that was.
Was you there for that?
I wasn't there for that one, no.
No, I certainly wasn't there.
But
I was
banging strike that was.
I'd only just come out of hospital, man.
I think probably one of the best technical goals that I've seen. I wasn't there, but that bow volley against Stoke.
Oh, yeah.
Remember when it come and he
nice.
let it come across his body onto his left foot and bent it into the top corner. That was a cracking goal as well. You know, I say, I wasn't there live for that one.
No, the best goal I've seen live, I think, is Klinsmann 2-1 at Anfield, 6th round of the Cup. Sheringham and Klinsmann partnership. What a duo they were. Yeah. We were 1-0 down in that game as well. I was sat with the Liverpool fans, sort of by the Kop. Not in the Kop, but next to the Kop.
Yeah.
And he scored at that end of the ground. And he came running around to where, just in front of where I was sat, and someone jumped on him and he clapped and they like dived on him right in front of me. I couldn't help it. I jumped up celebrating. But all the Scousers were fine. At the end of the game, I can honestly say it's the only game I've been to, and I've sneaked in some away ends to where, you know, like the home end, stroke away end for me to watch Tottenham. But that's the only game I've been to, and the home crowd has clapped Tottenham at the end of it. Nice. That's what the Liverpool fans are. I've always had a soft spot for Liverpool, always. You know, if I didn't support Spurs, I think I'd support Liverpool.
Fair
to be honest.
Terrible.
Anything for you, Nige? Can you remember anything that really sort of floats your boat?
So many good goals. But it's difficult because a lot of the goals that I was actually at the ground watching weren't really that good. But the two I remember the most that I really, really, like I say, there's so many to choose from. I loved the Kane goal against Arsenal.
Yeah.
The one when he took his mask off. I think
Oh,
that
was
was
you
a
there?
brilliant goal. No, no, I wasn't now, but I'm just saying the goals that I loved. If we're
Oh,
going, if we're going for, I don't know, I wasn't probably say one of the Rosenthal strikes against Southampton, when we won 6-2. But that's kind of
yeah,
tainted by the fact that Grobbelaar was kind of done for match fixing, wasn't he? Around the same time,
Yeah.
a few of those strikes, you're like, could you have got to? But
was
I
you
don't
there
know
at
whether
that
you guys
game?
remember. I was there at the Southampton Spurs
Oh,
game. Yeah, we won
we were
6-2.
2-0 down as well, weren't
Yeah, half time, me and my dad was sat in the Southampton end, and it was like, this is painful.
we? Yeah,
We were going to leave at half time, but we're like, we might as well just stay. And yeah, it
yeah,
was brilliant. Second half, we were literally like 2 seats away from the away end. So yeah, by the end, we were just celebrating with the Spurs fans, so that was good. But I don't
yeah.
know if any of you remember the Freddie Canute goal that he scored at White Hart Lane quite a while ago. I think he like it was a volley from well outside the area. And I think he either chested it or kneed it and then volleyed it from like 30 yards and it flew in top corner. But I love Freddie Canute. He was unpredictable, but scored some absolute bangers. A bit like Pavlyuchenko. You never quite knew what you're going to get, but you were guaranteed. Bloody hell, he had a shot on him.
Right, should we go for the chat and see what they got to say about this?
Yeah, we'll have a look. I don't know what Cookie was
I love
selling.
Scott.
Guaranteed for this massive party. God, Scott.
I didn't read that. Honestly, I didn't read it before I
Scott,
bought that.
I'm
That's funny.
hoping you're flying in for Sava's barbecue, mate, all the way from Canada. Hey,
Yeah.
July the 19th. Come on, son. We've got
That's it.
hotels booked
Yeah,
and all
do it.
that. You can
Yeah,
make it
3
up.
weeks today, isn't it?
Yeah,
3 weeks today, we'll be in South London area somewhere.
that's it.
Well, we will.
Right, Gaza 91.
Yeah, great goal.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
good goal.
double 1-2 volley.
One of
Yeah,
Holly's-
there was another one against, was it Nottingham Forest, where the ball didn't touch the ground?
Yeah,
Yeah.
There was a
Almost
couple
the
of
same,
headers.
wasn't
There was a
Oh,
couple of headers, and he volleyed it past Shilton.
yeah.
Was you at any of them games, Mark? So you should go a lot back then.
No, not that I remember being. But when you scroll further down to
Hang on.
see EM's next comment, when you get there in a sec.
Danny
yeah, Danny
Rose.
Rose, the bullet
was
against
good
Woolwich. Yeah,
That was his debut as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Ricky versus Mate.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
famous, that one.
Yeah.
Still gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, it's whenever FA Cup's on the TV, they always show it. And still Ricky
Commentary,
Viet.
isn't it?
And still Ricky Viet.
Yeah, and this is the comment I was talking about. I was at
was a
this
goal.
game.
Was you?
It was Ipswich away,
It was at Portman Road, wasn't it?
right? Tottenham were absolutely shit that day, right?
Urgent, yeah.
I mean, we were rubbish, absolutely rubbish, right? And I remember sitting up in the stand in the away end, and he just swung his leg at it, Cundy, and it ballooned up in the wind and somehow ended up in the back of the net. And you'd think we'd won the World Cup the way they celebrated.
I've seen the goal. Was it sort of a tackle? He was going in for a tackle and
No,
it
it was
ballooned
a
up off his shin or something.
No, it was a hoof from the halfway line.
Yeah. Someone was tackling him and he sort of hoofed it and it went in.
Maybe. All I know is it went fucking up in the air, God knows how far, and ended up, the wind carried the ball in the net, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was mad. We was crap, though. We was crap, honestly.
Yeah. I think you mentioned that one, didn't you? Bell versus Stoke.
Yeah, good.
That was a great goal.
Great
goal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good question, this.
Oh,
here we go. What two strikers that have played for Spurs would you like to see play together? e.g. Jimmy Greaves with Klinsmann. Oh, my days.
God, that is such a hard question.
Yeah.
Such a
Do you-
hard question
Do you
because
know, mate? Do you know? Right, I know they're still going on, not for much longer, but the all-time 11s,
yeah,
all the shows we've done of the all-time 11s, always the strikers that cause a problem
oh yeah,
because we've had that many good strikers. Depends how old you are, obviously, because if you're only young, you're going to put Harry Kane in.
Yeah. This is quite an easy one for me. I would have loved to have seen Birmingham play with Defoe because I think Defoe was the most natural striker, natural finisher we've ever had at the club. And I just think Sheringham would have, I think Defoe would have got 40 goals a season with Sheringham up front with him because Sheringham was so intelligent. And yeah, I would have liked to seen Sheringham and Defoe if I had the choice.
The obvious answer is Greaves and Kane, isn't it?
Yeah, but do they complement each other? Maybe they probably do. They probably could have played with anyone. Let's be fair. Kane could play
Jimmy
with
Greaves
anyone.
bloody well, I'm not old enough, and I'm not really old enough to remember Jimmy Greaves, but allegedly he compliments anybody.
Mm.
You know, there's a lot of people that say Greaves was the greatest ever striker that England's ever produced. I know he hasn't got the records on that like Kane has, but like
They didn't
allegedly,
play as many games back in the 50s, 60s, did they? Didn't
yeah,
England play every bloody other week now?
yeah,
yeah.
Whereas if
Well,
you got
this is it. See, and you
yeah,
look at Jimmy Greaves's England record. Jimmy Greaves has got something like 40 odd goals from England for England with only about 40 odd appearances.
mm,
He's virtually on a goal and appearance. And you got to remember, there was none of this play the Faroe Islands and get 5. There was none of that back then. Whenever England played, it was against top. You know, there was no Faroe Islands, there was no Andorra, there was none of that. England were playing like Italy and Germany and France, and it was sort of, none of the sort of so-called minnows existed back then, did they?
no,
right.
such a difficult question though. Okay,
Yeah,
because if there's one
Right.
thing that Tottenham have had, it's a plethora of very good strikers over the years. Don't get me wrong, I know we've had some not so good ones, but
not many good defenders, but like
when
the
we find,
strikers we've had in abundance.
trying to
I think
think.
that's why it's so disappointing that we got such crap players now out there.
It is, especially what we grew up with. Like even Crooks and Archibald. What a combination they were.
Yeah,
Who's that?
Crooks and Archibald.
brilliant.
Oh yeah, mate. Oh, different gear. They just had the connection. Them two.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
just had the connection.
I'll be honest. If I was going to make a choice, and they did play together, it would be Sheringham and Klinsmann. Sheringham and Klinsmann were deadly. It's just a shame that Klinsmann left after 1 year.
That's why I find it difficult to get a connection with Klinsmann, to be honest. I know he did great for us, but for me, it's just like he only stayed a year. I know he
Well,
come
he
back
stayed
for
a
6
year, then
months
come
later
back
on.
for 6 months. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really as great as he was. For me, he wasn't proper Tottenham. I want a
He
player to
got the
stay.
club, though.
Love the club.
Even though he was only with us 18 months, he gets the club. He gets the
Yeah,
fans.
same as Van der Vaart.
Yeah, he was only with us for a short time. He was only with us for a short time, but
Yeah,
Van der Vaart and Klinsmann, you got to remember, 2 world-class players in that day. What I've always said, Jurgen Klinsmann is the last truly world-class player that we bought. Van der
Absolutely.
Vaart, in my opinion, was just over the hill
the way down. Yeah,
because Real Madrid wanted to sell him. We got Klinsmann in his peak just after the 2004 World Cup.
We've all seen many great strikers at Spurs. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Harry Kane. He's just for his all round, what he turned into, not just a striker, but almost a attacking midfielder at times, and dropping even deeper than that. And if he weren't scoring, he was setting stuff up.
Yeah.
A fantastic player, but if we're going on like going back, and you could pick a strike force. I get where you're coming from Klinsmann, on the Klinsmann front, Nige, right? But when I watched Klinsmann that season, he was the dream, mate.
He's different gravy, wasn't he?
He was like, to have someone playing like that, that's like, bit of a different extreme, but that's like Yamal signing at Barcelona for Spurs. Do you know what I mean?
No, I get it.
Time, he was like, and he was so explosive, and you could tell by watching him that it was almost like it just meant everything to him to play for us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Every time he scored, the celebration meant so much. It weren't just a little kiss of the badge or a little one of them. Do you know what I mean? He was like right into it, like big style.
Yeah, no, I get it. And like I love Klinsmann. I was just disappointed he only stayed a season.
Yeah.
It just felt for me a little bit like, oh.
I've always said about Klinsmann, I've always said about him, right? Now, we signed him at the peak of his powers, right? He was probably the greatest striker in the world at the time. And when he come in, he didn't have to come to us. We were nothing. We were just, to him, he'd probably never even heard of us. I'm not being disrespectful, but he come in and he got the club immediately. He got the fans. He got the passion. He got it. He really got it. And he still says he loves Tottenham to this day when he's on the telly. If you ever see him on the TV, he always says he loves Tottenham.
And he used to have a Volkswagen Beetle, didn't he?
Yeah, and I was just about to say he didn't turn up in his big flashy top of the range Merc or Beamer at the time. He turned up in a Volkswagen Beetle.
Yeah.
And he got the club immediately. Same as Van der Vaart. Van der Vaart probably never even heard of Tottenham before we signed him. I'm not being disrespectful to Tottenham, but they probably never had. Coming from Europe, they might have heard of us from '84. When we won the UEFA Cup, or the FA Cup or something in a few years in the 80s and 90s. But, Tottenham really, why would they come to us? But they come and they got it immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. Anyway,
well, just from our two Pennersworth, if I could see two strikers, I would go Klinsmann with Berbatov.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
that's almost white sock time, mate.
Eh?
I bet that's in you.
It's almost white sock time.
I bet that's in here somewhere anyway. I ain't gone through the comments. I can't see them. Well, I can't see them, but I haven't looked at them. Right.
Here we go.
Defoe overhead kick. Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
Yeah. It was
stuffed.
So many goals.
Here we go. The answers for this is coming in.
Here we go. Sheringham and Kane. Yeah. Can't make that one. Beautiful.
Berber and Greaves. Yeah.
Berbatov was just something different when Berbatov was amazing.
Is another vote for Teddy and Kane?
Yeah. Two for Teddy and Kane. Oh, Lisa's.
Yeah, but the thing with Teddy though is the first 10 yards were all up here with Teddy. He wasn't the quickest. He never was. Never will be the quickest. But first 10 yards with Teddy was all up here. Very intelligent footballer. Very. And Klinsmann still says to this day he was the best strike partner he ever played with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kane and Bird, yeah.
Evening, Lisa.
Good evening, Lisa.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talk about pressing today. You know, if the ball was within 10 yards with him, he was on it and he was sprinting after him as well. Do you know what I mean? It weren't none of this jogging over like they do today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you talk about mentality, and
Yeah.
Klinsmann had that mentality.
Well, he was a World Cup winner.
Yeah.
He got it.
Mm.
Yeah, I remember that, Scott. When Klinsmann was manager of America.
Well, he still is, isn't he? Oh, no, he's not now, is he? No, it's Poch now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Poch now, yeah.
I think he's doing his best to get sacked and come back and come home, personally.
He is. He is.
Yeah. If it all goes wrong, let's hope it don't for Thomas Frank. You never know, Mark. A year down the line.
In my eyes, I believe it's set in stone that after the next World Cup, which is next year in the summer, Poch will return.
There you go, see.
I honestly,
I think Tom Frank will be all right, you know.
yeah. Well, I'm not saying I hope he doesn't. I want Thomas Frank to be a raging success, but I've got that funny feeling that because Poch's contract runs out next summer, I got a feeling that it depends how the leave out stuff goes. Depends how many protests happen. If that starts ramping up, that crafty person will just bring him back.
Well, we don't start buying people soon.
Well, yeah. If they don't start buying people soon, the first protest might be the first game of the season.
They've got to do something. They can't leave it as it is and go into the Champions League as it is.
Well, although allegedly, I read something on Facebook today. Now we all know that everything on Facebook is 100% gospel truth.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right now, the financial year for Tottenham starts July the 1st.
Yeah.
So maybe they're waiting. Maybe they are waiting for July the 1st because, we can't spend it in this financial year. I honestly don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an accountant. I wish I was an accountant, but, I don't understand. Well, I do understand facts and figures, but not with money and I ain't got a clue.
I wish you were an accountant too, Sheriff. You could sort me out.
We're changing.
No, you'd be bankrupt, mate. If I was by this night. Yeah, let's have another pint.
What's you two's thoughts on Thomas the Frank engine coming in? Because we haven't done a show to speak about it since he's been announced.
The last show was called
have we?
Yeah. What was it?
It
was the old Frank goes,
I can't remember.
What was the old Frank Goes to Hollywood thing? No, it was Frankie Says Coys. That was our last show.
That was when he was just announced, though, wasn't it?
I think so.
No, what I'm saying is, though, what do you think about people's reaction to it? And what's been going on in the transfer window since he's come in?
Well, nothing's gone on in the transfer window, is it?
Well, that's a problem, isn't it?
It's up in it. But then again, what I read, I think it might be to do with the financial year. So hopefully,
the thing is, we are missing out on so many players. I get it. No, I don't. I don't get it. I get the financial year, and that we might have already spent too much money in one year, and we got to maybe rein it in and wait to the new financial year for. But surely we must have deals waiting to happen because Thomas Frank has said it last night. What is the point in having Thomas Frank if we're not going to back him? We might as well just kept Ange. And I hated Ange. But if we're not going to back Thomas Frank, what's the point in bringing him in?
I nearly come out my nose there when you said we just well kept Ange. Jesus.
Sorry, mate. But you know what I mean? Yeah. What's the point if we don't back him?
I mean, surely there's got to be some outgoings, which you would think would free some money up if there's no money to spend. They said they've got to sell to buy. So
yeah,
get rid of 3 or 4 of them then, or 4 or 5 of them, or 6 or 7 of them, or however many it takes, to start doing what we've got to do and act like a Champions League team.
So who do you think we'll sell this summer?
Yeah, this is here we go. This is the next comment.
Let me get my glasses.
Okay. Who was in Frank's first 11 and who do you think he wants gone?
God, that's difficult to.
I know he changes systems though, doesn't he? Sometimes 5 at the back, sometimes 4 at the back, 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3. He does everything, doesn't he?
Yeah, a lot. He interchanges systems a lot, doesn't he?
I think he's going to like the players that can play multiple positions.
Yeah.
So they can like slot in somewhere else. I think he's going to like all them. So,
well, he's got the centre halves to play free at the back now, and as long as no one else goes, I think they've got enough to do that now.
Yeah, but
whether you've got enough to play 5 in midfield or not, without getting others in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. As in, like proper midfielders, not wingers playing as. You know what?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying.
Do you think Sonny will leave?
It's difficult, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
Can you see him going to Saudi?
Possibly. I don't know.
I mean,
don't get me wrong. Whatever he's on, 200 grand a week or whatever it is, right? It's a lot of
they'll
money.
double it at least, won't they?
That's what I mean. He'll go there and be on 400 or 500 grand a week. So, is it the money to him at the end of the day, or does he just want to see his career out, hopefully, or stay at Spurs for as long as he can? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's difficult one, because he's not been the Sonny of old for a couple of years, but I am confident that Frank could get a lot better out of him. So I think he'd improve under Frank. But are we at a stage where I was like, okay, it's time to not be sentimental and start letting players go?
I'll be honest.
And Spurs are gonna, he's gonna walk away on a free next season if we don't sell him. So
I'll be honest. If you don't stick him on the wing, there's an improvement because he's never been a winger. As I kept harping on and harping on and harping on last season. Same with Brennan Johnson. He's not a winger either. Yeah. And so hopefully it'd be nice to see Frank actually play the players in their strongest positions, not shoehorning them into a position that doesn't really suit their game. I think Frank will get the best out of players because he's a coach at the end of the day, and he understands what people are good at and what they're not so good at. I mean, let's face it, right? I mean, you've had all these comments about what's Frank ever won, what's Frank ever done in his career. The biggest thing Frank has ever done in his career is keep Brentford in the Premier League. I mean, that's a bloody result in itself. Because let's face it, Brentford have had the second lowest spend in the Premier League last year, and they do this regularly. That is it Mbuemo they bought for like 5 million or so?
Yeah.
Something like that.
And let's face it, a team like Brentford get raided every year. If they get a player that's like half sensible and proves himself at Brentford, the big boys start circling like vultures, and one of them will come down and pick one of them off. It always happens. And so, to me, just keeping Brentford in the Premier League is like winning a trophy. And
there's no doubt he's done well there, Mark.
Not only keeping them in the Premiership, but making them an established Premier League team. That is like winning a trophy with us. For the respective sizes of the clubs. Just keeping Brentford in the Premier League and making them an established Premier League side, that's a right result. And if
It'll be
he could,
interesting to see what they do next season without him.
yeah, and now he's stepped up a level, because let's face it, all right, they finished higher than us last season, but so did everybody else, apart from the 3 teams that went down. But like, now he's obviously stepped up a level. Can he take us back into the top 4 just with his coaching and maybe a few extra signings? Or can he get us into the top 6? Put it this way, next year, I'm looking at top 6 or UEFA Europa League qualification, whether that's top 6, top 7, right? And a good cup run.
So that was going to be my question to you. What would be your what is your expectations for Frank for this season? What are you expecting from him?
It's difficult to say as far as
Yeah.
because you don't know if there's going to be or if and who could be coming in. But as it stands now, if you said, well, there's no one coming in now, he's got what he's got, and that's it. I think it's going to be. I think we're going to improve. Our league position will improve.
But it can't get worse, mate. We'll be in the championship.
It can't get any worse.
Yeah.
But I said we'd finish sort of 6th, 7th, 8th last season. You know what I mean? And I'm loath to predict that again because I think that's where we should be with this squad. And if everything went okay throughout the whole season, then I'm not saying it's not a possibility, but with Champions League football as well,
Yeah,
I just like, have we got the quality of player? That's how.
Yeah.
I look at it. And you know what it's
I will
like.
say,
You can go on a bit of a downward spiral if you lose a few games, and then that on the Wednesday night, and then that runs into the weekend when you've got the early kickoff on the Sunday at 12:30 or whatever, and Liverpool away or Chelsea away or whoever, and you get beat again, and then it can sort of have that sort of bit of negative effect. Do you know what I mean? And I hope that's not what happens when it starts getting down to the nitty gritty of it all when the Champions League starts.
Yeah.
But for me, if he can get them in the top 10, I don't know if the FA Cup and the Carling Cup, because of the Champions League, will affect the runs in those. Basically because of the squad that we've got now. But yeah, top 10 and show up in one of the cups along the way. I don't hold a lot of hope out for Champions League next year. More than anything, I just don't want us to get spanked up.
Yeah.
And just be made to look an embarrassment. Do you know what I mean? Because we need some quality in. We've got to get some quality in. And I think one other thing that we need to do is as well. Has anyone thought, we say about Thomas Frank being a coach, but we've only got what we would call one number 9 in the club in Solanke, right? If he's fit, he plays. Now, bearing in mind under Thomas Frank and let's say what we just said just now. Let's say we don't know who's coming in, so let's assume he's got what he's got. Solanke's out injured next year. Let's assume Son's gone. Who's playing up front? Tellen Johnson in a 2?
Could be Talon's son.
If he's still here.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And this is what I mean. You're going from the big man up front with possibly one playing off of him or those 2 playing off of him either side to asking them to play a totally different way with 2 small men rather than a big and a little. So this is when his coaching is going to come into effect.
Yeah, that's but that's what I mean. Let's face it, Solanke is and I think Solanke will actually do better next season. I think if he stays fit, I think he would do better than what he did last season. But you're right. Solanke is our only striker. I know we have Richarlison, but I do think he may leave. I just don't think we have enough quality up
No.
front. But then you look at Brentford, they didn't really, did they? You know, once Tony went, they had Mbeumo and Wissa on either flank, like as the inside forwards.
Yeah.
But they didn't really have a bit. I can't think of the man they had up who played up front for them. So I'm not sure how Frank's going to play.
It was Wissa and Emblemo coming in off almost like they almost played without a 9, didn't they? And those two were the two up front.
So once Johnson played up front.
Yeah, all I'm confident of is that we won't be finishing 17th.
No, I don't think
16th.
we'll be finishing 17th. No, I think Lee made a thing there like top 10, something like that. At the end of the day, it's a massive improvement on, if you're finishing top 10, I don't know whose show, I can't remember whose show I heard it on. It's either Savas or Stell show, I think. It's 10. Is it 10 wins? The difference between where we are and top 6.
Yeah,
28 points or something, isn't it?
Yeah,
something like that. It's a lot of points, but then you say we've got to win that amount of points to get there, but other teams might lose a few more games next season. But I get where they're coming from on the.
We also ain't got to chuck them away as well. Look how many games we were winning, and we still carried on playing that nonsense football, and we were torn to bits, 2 at the back and all that nonsense. That's another thing I'm guaranteed. There'll be none of this 2 at the back rubbish.
No, I think Lee's absolutely bang on. He says his last comment, I think the squad may be top half this season, but Ange really has left a fixing mess. He has. We take away the Europa League win, which is fantastic. This club is an absolute mess.
Yeah.
Frank has got a massive job. Massive job.
The one thing I will say, and this is the root of all the problems at Tottenham, and I am coming back to this, is that the man at the top has got to stop. It's got to start. Now, in his speech not so long ago, after the Europa League win, we don't want just this. We want to win the Premier League and the Champions League. Well, how about, Mr. Levy, you start acting like it? We built this new stadium to attract the big stars, to pay the top money. How about you start acting like that and put money in the club and buy the Ezes, the Embuemos that look like we've missed out on both of them? Instead of buying kids that might be good in 5 years, how about you buy someone that walks straight to the first team and whoever's shirt is in his position? I'm having that. You got to fight for your place now. How about you do that, Mr. Levy? Instead of just thinking about the concerts and the money that's coming in. How about we start acting like a big club for once? We got the big shiny Levy bowl there now. How about we start acting like a big club?
Yeah.
Which we don't. Which we don't.
That's going to make a brilliant short.
Do either of you think that
So you're clipping me up again, Nige? Normally it's mud in the pub where I say something dirty or something.
Do either of you think that what's going on at the top, as in changes of people coming in onto the board and so on, and the sackings of everyone but Lang, do you think it's just all a facade, another Levy way of making it look like he's doing something, but he really ain't? As in, the transfer window starts in 4 days, whatever it is, it's a couple of days' time, and
isn't it open yet?
You might see it's closed again and then it opens again, doesn't it?
Oh, does it? Oh, yeah. Right.
But do you think like we might see one signing just to appease the fans? Is it going down that route? We've bought, sorted Danzo out, the Tell deal sorted, and whether you want them or not, whoever you want, whoever you don't want.
Yeah.
But is that money on last year's Danzo and that? Because those deals have been completed. Do you know You know what I'm getting at? I'm not very good
Yeah.
at explaining this sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
that's possibly why we'll wait
Yeah.
until the 1st of July before we make any more signings, because there's a new financial year.
Yeah.
You just don't know with Levy. Levy shoots himself in the foot all the time, though, doesn't he? Like, why would you come out and say we want to win the Premier League, we want to win the Champions League, and then I understand him missing out on Mbeumo, because if Mbeumo wants to go to Man United, he wants to go to Man United. You can't help where a player wants to go. But I will not forgive Levy if he doesn't sign Eze, because Eze is the one player that would have united this fan base totally. And it would have given Levy another season. If we had signed Eze, and we still might, but if we signed Eze, I'll tell you what, the protest for Levy would stop instantly. I can guarantee it. If we signed Eze.
The thing is, with Eze, we've had him at the stadium. He's got the same management company as half our players.
Yeah.
You know, we've wined and dined him in a bloody box at the stadium for God knows how. He's been there at least 2 or 3 times, from my knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, so we've been like flirting around him. Just pay the bloody money and get him. It's about time we acted like a big club.
And the
It's
thing
not even a
is,
lot of money, isn't it?
I don't think he's like. I know that like Palace have apparently come out and said, "Oh, now you can do 3 instalments of 20 million or whatever it is, something like that, rather than a big chunk up front." But I don't think it's even like Eze's wages will be so far over the top of what we're paying to the top bods now. You know, it's not like he wants 300 grand a week. I don't think.
Especially if Sonny leaves.
Yeah,
Because
it
he's a
doesn't
highest
make
earner,
sense,
isn't he,
does
Sonny?
it?
Yeah, Sonny's 200 and change, isn't he? Or is it 200 on the dot? I don't know.
Yeah.
Apparently, whoever we sign, Sonny's there. Sonny has to earn more. So if we sign an Eze and paid Eze 240, then Sonny would have to be 260 or whatever. Sonny always has to be the highest earner. And kind of the same with Madison. But if Sonny does leave, then surely we can afford to bring in a player like Eze.
But we can afford to
I just don't
anyway.
get it. Well,
This is
yeah,
what
we can.
this is what the new stadium was built for. It's so frustrating, that bloody man. Well, the first protest, I'm going to be there without a shadow of a doubt.
Oh, I'll be
He's,
there, but he's got to go, isn't he?
he's the root of every problem at Tottenham. Everything.
The thing is, it's mad, isn't it? Because when you think about it, you know, we was going to the protest last season, yeah, before we won a cup, and now it's almost like we've won the cup, so he's got himself out of an hole because he's won a trophy,
Yeah.
and now you think, go
We'll
on,
kick
then,
on.
fans on side now for whatever reason. You know, we've won a cup. We've done it yours and Angie's way, or whoever's way it was. It's done. We've won the cup. Let's kick on now. We're, you know, Europa League champions. Do you know what I mean? You know you're going into the Champions League, and you know, and Mark knows, and everyone else knows that watches these programs. We are short on experience.
Yeah.
We are short on players with know-how to play in these competitions. And we need 2 or 3 of them. And if it costs a few quid more to have them in, and I still don't think there's not players out there that are even below our wage threshold that haven't got that experience to come into us. That if you said to them, look, you know, and they might be on the older side, they might be late 20s. Well, don't give them a 5-year contract then. Give them a 2-year contract. You know, you're not washed up at 31. Do you know what I mean? And this is the bit that I don't get. Why has it all got to be what seems like kids upon, you know, 16 to 20-year-olds coming in? It's just like, I just don't get it, man. The situation's changed now, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We're in the Champions League now. I don't think a lot of people expected that to happen.
No, I don't think Levy expected it to happen either. I think he's probably delighted it did, obviously, but yeah, we can't afford to go into the Champions League with kids. We're going to get absolutely. And this is the thing, though. Does Levy even care? Let's be honest. He's going to get Champions League money. Does he care if we go out of the group stage? Doesn't really matter. He's going to get more than he would for the Europa League just by going
Yeah.
out to the group stages.
Yeah,
So
but
is it really a big deal for Levy?
my thing with the stadium and what's going on now is that I said this last season as well, with the money that our stadium generates, with the concerts, with the NFL, with everything else that goes on there, the boxing and all the stuff that goes on there, football performance is not really that important to him anymore. All right, it's handy if we do get in the Champions League, but it's not vital like it was when Poch was here and he used to chuck or play weakened teams in the cup competition, so we never progressed because the top four was always the goal to get the Champions League money in to fund the building of the new stadium. That's all it was when Poch was here. His precedent every year was get us top four. Especially when he did it the first time, that was his precedent every year. Top four is all that matters because we needed the money to fund the stadium. But now we've got the stadium, right? And all the concerts and all the boxing and the bloody NFL. Because that's mega money, the NFL deal. The NFL compared to the Premier League is monster money. Monster money in the NFL. Millions and millions and millions of dollars in the NFL. And, the football seems to have taken a back seat because it's not important anymore.
Mark,
Which is wrong.
can I just jump in on that? What you were saying. The point I would slightly disagree. Well, I will disagree with you on is Ange had 400 million quid.
There is that.
So to say that Levy hasn't, now what I would say is that a lot of that money has gone on players in the, what we would say is the wrong players for what we want now.
Once for the future.
And we've spent it on a lot of players that are for the future, apart from the odd signing, So, like Nigel said earlier, let's hope that they back him over the next 2 years for another 400 million quid. Because if they do, with what I see from his scouts' talent IQ of players that they bring in, they'll probably get 400 million quid of players for 100 million quid, because Frank don't spend that type of money. He's a perfect Levy manager, isn't he?
Yeah.
This is my worry, though. This is my worry with Frank and Levy, is the fact that, look at last season, we brought in one player that went straight into the first team, and that was Solanke. The rest, we were squad or young players. We all know we need at least 3 players that are going to walk into that first team this summer. At least 3.
Yeah.
I reckon we get 1, and the rest to be squad or young players again. Sorry,
Right.
Mark.
No, that's right, mate. Can I just rephrase slightly what I said then? So you might agree with me.
Yeah.
Right. Now, when you said about he's had 400 million and that, right? Yes, he has. But can I just say then that, all right, he had 400 million, but the performance on the pitch and the results on the pitch was not of greatest importance to Daniel. Can you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Okay.
Just we were 17th in the league, and yes, we did win Europa League, but with all the rest of the stuff that goes on there, with the money that they're raking in from the concerts, the NFL, the rugby that's on there, whenever, everything else that's going on there, because these concerts must rake in a mint, mine. The NFL deal must be worth millions, because that is probably one of the richest franchises in the world. I know it's only concentrated in America, but there's mega money in that. Absolute mega money. And it's like Leah said here, It won't be long before there's an NFL team playing at Spurs full time. Yeah, I can see that as well. There's already been rumblings of that about having a NFL team at our ground. Levy'd love that because the NFL franchise is worth an absolute I know there's like two separate bits of it in there, but it's absolute fortunes in that. And I bet that deal we signed with the NFL was worth an absolute min. An absolute min. Because you got to remember, it's not just having the American football there, it's the broadcasting rights as well, with ABC and whoever else shows it in America. Monstrous money. Absolute monstrous money. So, yes, I agree with you that Ange had 400 million. That's written in stone. That's a fact. But on top of that, the football took a back seat. You know what I mean? And this is where, because at the end of the day, I don't care what goes on in the top at the stadium, the football team should come first. We're a football club at the end of the day. But all it's been since that stadium was opened is we're an entertainment value that a game of football breaks out every other week when we're home. You know, that's all it is now, an entertainment value, a venue. You know, and football happens there now and again. And it makes me sick.
Well, I think, like both of you have said, at the end of the day, if there's no experience coming in and we start getting, not battered, because I don't think we'll get battered. I think because he is a coach and because he works on the training pitch with the players, I think you'll see it being a lot more organised than what it was last season. That doesn't always necessarily mean that you don't get beat 1-0 4 weeks on the trot, or 2-1 or whatever. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's a results business, and I hope for him because, you can say about Brentford being a small club, but they are pretty much established, or have been established in the Premier League for the last 3 or 4 seasons. And when you've got players like Mbuemo and Tony, and then they brought Wisser in, and, up front, I think they scored just as many goals as us, didn't they? If not
Something like that.
more.
4th or 5th highest scores in the Premier League last season.
It's not. There's not a lot in it, but then the same way, I think it's pretty close on the goals conceded as well. And have they conceded less than us? I don't know. Anyway, I just think the style of football, what punters are paying for to go and watch every week. Yeah. I think they will be a lot, I don't know, happier. I take it if you're a bit more of a football connoisseur as such. If you actually watch the game, watch the patterns of play, see what's going on, movement off the ball, stuff like that. I think you'll see a lot more structure to us this season, and a lot more adaptability. As in, if things are going rough for 20 minutes, he will drop one in. Do you know what I mean? And tighten it up and try and do stuff like that until it calms down and you can get back on the front foot again.
Yeah. But definitely, we're not going to be wide open like we were last year.
No.
Definitely not. Put it this way, I wouldn't care. To be honest, I just want to see winning football. And I've watched many shows where there's been season ticket holders on, the likes of Ben Kay, Lubo, all the ones that got Stell to a certain extent, even though he didn't refuse to go at the end. But all the season ticket holders, and they were sick to death of it, going there and losing every home game. I think, I'm not saying this to become a fortress, but I think we're going to be we're certainly not going to lose however many games we lost at home last year.
10.
Whatever it was, yeah. We lost more than we won at home. And some of the ones at home was draws.
Yeah, we have got to be patient now. You know,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
isn't going to
yeah,
happen
yeah, yeah.
overnight. We got to
No,
give Frank time to get his team right, and we
yeah,
can't be wanting him out after 6 months because he's notorious for starting slow. So
yeah.
let's just give him time and see what he can do.
Mm.
Here we go. Here we go, Lee. I watch the NFL. The NFL, what another club in Europe as a rival team to the one in London, in Germany, the new Man United Stadium. The NFL won a four-team expansion.
Expansion, yeah.
Really?
It's all about money, isn't it, Mark? At the
Yeah,
end of the
Yeah.
day.
yeah. But the NFL was a massive franchise. It makes the Premier League look like bloody
Yeah,
small fry.
yeah. Massive country, isn't it? At the end of the day,
Oh yeah, yeah.
you know
But
what I mean.
I'm
So
pretty certain the NFL is the most watched sport in America, even though I don't understand what the hell's going on.
yeah, it's that and baseball and basketball, isn't it?
Yeah, but baseball's got a following over there. Basketball's got a following, but even the basketball stadiums, see, they're all indoors, so
Yeah,
they ain't got the capacities that the American football stadiums have got.
no, that's true.
You know, but it's
Yeah,
still a big sport over there, basketball. But I
yeah,
think NFL is the top sport in America. I'm
yeah,
pretty certain it is. Well, it's NFL in the winter, isn't it? And baseball in
yeah,
the summer.
yeah.
You know, but the NFL was massive, man.
Mm.
Wherever it was back in the comments, like I agree with Lee that it won't be long before there's a full-time team at our ground
Mm.
because
Well,
the
it's
pitch.
all set up to be in it at the end of the day. The
All they
way,
got to do is ship the pitch out into the south stand, don't they?
yeah, yeah,
It's already there, ready to go.
yeah, yeah.
You know, so
Yeah, I
yeah,
think Nigel's right though. It's about now. I think that he's got to have the season. He's got to have this transfer window, the January transfer
yeah.
window, and the next summer's transfer window to, at least get some of the players that he wants in.
You know, unless it's horrific, unless we're like
Obviously,
17th again next
yeah,
season and we're really doing badly. But
Yeah,
other than that,
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's in a way it's weird, isn't it, that we've won a trophy and the manager's gone, isn't it?
yeah. Mm.
Do you know what I
I
mean?
don't know. Is it? It seems to happen quite a lot at Spurs, doesn't it?
but they don't win the
Yeah,
trophy, do they?
I know.
Oh, but look,
What I
Ramos
mean
went,
is,
didn't he, after we won a trophy? And
yeah, but to put up with that shite football last season,
shocking.
do you know what I mean? I'm not talking about us putting up with it. I'm talking about the people that go every week. Do you know what I mean? The people that went to them away games. What was it? 1 in 13 or something. It beat Southampton in the last 13 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, shocking.
That's just horrendous, isn't it? It really is horrendous.
Now, obviously,
No.
obviously, you two know that I went to the parade on the Friday,
Yeah.
and I'll be honest. Yes, I was over the moon because we won a trophy, but to be honest, it felt weird because the whole season was terrible.
Mm.
It was rotten. But then to come away with it at the end with a trophy, I was like, yes. All right, I got pretty drunk. But like it just didn't feel right. Honestly, even though like Amstel was £4 a pint, I think, or £4.20 a pint. It's about what you paid in Manchester earlier, mate.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like out of it, but it just didn't feel right. Yes, I was happy we won something. Yes, finally, 18 years, whatever it was, we won something. But I found it difficult to celebrate.
A lot of people were begged to differ, Mark, on your
Yeah.
videos.
Well,
You had a good time, mate, didn't you? At the
yeah,
end.
it was a great time. And believe you me, I'm glad I went. But it just
Keep it
didn't.
quiet.
seeing as the season was that shocking, like how many,
Mm.
like all the shows we did after every game, every one I just said, well, we just will copy and paste this one and put it on next week. Because we were just moaning, groaning, Ange out, Ange is useless.
Mm.
You know, it was just copy and paste every week. And then to
Yeah.
actually go when we won something, yes, I was happy. And yes, I shed a tear. But if it had been Poch, I'd have been delighted. But it wasn't.
Well, I feel like I've been taken back in history in the last, like, literally just read what Kem has said about the tracksuit.
Yeah.
Can you remember the bottoms that used to have the strap underneath the feet?
Yes.
So bloody annoying when this one side of it used to come off and you used to like drag along the ground all the time and it'd always be soaking wet. Drive me nuts.
Yeah. Admiral tracksuit. Bloody hell, Cam, you're going back miles there. What was that? Late 70s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mid to late 70s, Admiral, wasn't
Maybe
it?
early 80s as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
Jesus. That is a long way back.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. See? Is
Second
that Kem
division
that follows
season.
the Cowboys? I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, Kem. Not so
Me
much
too.
nowadays. I don't follow it as much nowadays. I used to because my mum lived in America and she lived in
Mm.
Texas, just outside Dallas. So I used to go over there pretty regularly when I was sort of 15, 16, 17 and been to a few Cowboys games, been to the
Oh,
Texas
yeah.
Rangers to watch the baseball.
Have you?
Yeah, I like that better,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. The
Mm.
baseball, even though it's a bit long-winded, if you get a bit of a cracking game, it can be the time can go by really quick, you know, and it's so cheap, or it was back then. It was like
Mm.
$5 to get into a baseball game back then.
Well, I'll tell
Who
you
was
what,
the
mate.
go on, Mark?
You know, I'll tell you what. Well, I was in Manhattan in 2000 in August, and it was baseball season, and I got into watching baseball,
Yeah,
and well, it's a bit like cricket, but to me, it's more exciting.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you know,
Definitely.
because cricket. Here we go. Here's one for you, mate.
Danny White.
Very right.
It's going back in time, that is. Jeez.
Who was the wide receiver or the running back for the Dallas Cowboys like in the late 80s, I
Well,
want to
Kem will
say?
answer this. Kem will answer this.
Because I was a Cowboys fan and my mate was a Bears fan and
The
he used
running
to like
back.
the
Are you
Bears
talking
because of the
about the wide
refrigerator.
receiver or the running back?
I think he was a running back.
Yeah, the
I
running back
think
was a
Emmett
little
Smith,
Emmett
wasn't it?
Smith. Yeah, Emmett
Yeah,
Smith.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Right,
yeah,
here we go. We got a question. What's your favourite Spurs kit, home and away?
yeah. I'm a bit like I like all the old style stuff.
Mm,
You know what I mean? I've got
82,
replicas of
82
the
Cup final.
61 kit home and away,
Mm,
and it's like they're
yeah.
proper made out of cloth.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Rather than the nylon
Mm,
or whatever it is they use nowadays. But it's the
yeah.
old proper cloth shirts. And I've got a home and away one of them, and they're my favourite, to be honest with you.
I'll tell you the kits I liked was the Under Armour ones.
Yeah. Mm.
The Under Armour shirts
Yeah.
were brilliant. The Nike ones, since we've had Nike as a sponsor, let me just say, the Nike kits are absolute shite.
Gotta say,
Am I
Mark,
allowed to say that?
you are. I gotta say though, and I put a short out about it. I haven't put it on YouTube yet. The third strip coming out this season is an absolute thing of beauty, and
The
I
black
Is
will
that
be
one.
the
buying
black
it.
one? Is that the black one?
No, it's a yellow one, and it's like the old Nike
Oh,
Total 90 ones, and it's got
yes.
the old retro Spurs badge in the middle.
Oh.
When that comes out, I will be buying it. But other than that, the 82 Cup final replay shirt was my favourite shirt.
What was the kit? Now, this is I've just shot myself in the foot. Um, what was the kit? The away kit I associate it with Sheringham. The yellow one with the sort of blue flat, the blue like squarey bits on the shoulder. I associate it with the likes of Sheringham and Anston.
Yeah, I know the one you mean.
I'm not even sure who sort of made that kit. Was it Adidas?
I'm pretty certain it was 93, 94 strip or something like that. Oh, it's a
Yeah,
Klinsmann strip as well, wasn't it? Klinsmann played in that
Kinsman,
strip.
yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
I like that one, but I don't like none of the white. Well, I don't like any of the Nike ones because, like, the AIA is red.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like the sponsor. I liked Holston. Holston was the
Yes.
sponsor for me.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
all right. Let's go for my. All right, the '91 FA Cup final shirt.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Yeah,
That's a
that I've
nice
got
one.
the replica of upstairs, and the '81.
I like the Adidas home strip.
Yeah,
Sheringham, Poyet, people
yeah,
like that. Ziga. That was a
yeah.
nice kit.
I
Well,
quite,
right. Oh,
a lot of people won't agree with me, but I've only seen a few pictures of it. But just because it's different, I like that black strip.
Yeah, no, it's decent. It's
That's
decent.
Is that the away strip? Is it? Is that going to be the away strip? Or is
Yeah,
that? Yeah, I think that looks
yeah.
all right. Just looks a bit
another
different.
Yeah.
of my favourites. Another of my favourites. Now I think it is a Nike shirt as well, so I've completely shot myself in the foot. Is the Amsterdam one, the Ajax shirt, the green
Oh,
one.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You've got it.
Yeah.
I've got it, Matt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That green one as well. I've shot myself in the foot because I said all the Nike kits were shite, but like
So
that
That
green
was a
one
nice one.
wasn't.
It's a proper legend shirt. That night.
Yeah, it is now.
Didn't it have didn't it have like a globe on it with different?
Didn't it have a map of North London or something?
There was a map of something. There was some sort of
Yeah,
map, wasn't it, on that?
yeah.
I'm glad Lee likes that. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the comments further down. I thought
Well,
I
hang
was
on.
gonna be the
We'll
only
get to that.
No, I thought I was going to be the only one who liked the black kit.
Admiral and the
Yeah,
Lecoq. Yeah.
yeah, both
Oh, here
nice.
we go. Emmett Smith. Smith
Yeah.
was a running back.
Yeah,
Running back. Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to
I
think of
like
that.
that.
What
87.
was that bloke's name? Who was the wide receiver for the 49ers? Was it Jerry? Someone?
Yeah.
Jerry Rice.
Yeah. Nor will I. Nor will I, Lee. I won't wear. I will not even buy the home shirt now. I don't buy them from the shop anyway. I'm not giving him my money.
Nothing.
But there's other ways you can get them.
Yeah.
Not allowed to advertise them on here.
Yeah, Jerry Rice.
Cheapest,
That's
aren't
it. Yeah.
Cheap as chips getting a shirt, I swear.
Well, let's not promote anything,
Somewhere with a gate.
Well,
on it, again.
allegedly.
Yeah.
Score for a shirt, you can't moan, can you? Hey.
No.
That's it. Jerry Rice, wide receiver for the 49ers. Yeah. Back in the day. Wow. It's a long time ago, that. Seems like it, anyway.
I've never really watched American football, mate.
No, I only got into it a bit.
Sunday night.
Yeah, I only got into it a bit. I don't really watch it now, but I used to watch it quite regularly. And when I was going backwards and forwards, I had two cousins, and when I was over there, they'd always be throwing the American football about. Do you know what I mean? And because there was three of us, one would be throwing and one would be running after it, and the other one would be trying to tackle you. So it was all good fun.
The trouble is in this country, it's on at like 3 a.m, isn't it?
Yeah.
At least midnight it starts.
Yeah. Some of them start early, and you get an early show over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they have a late kickoff, 9 o'clock at night or 10
Here we go.
at night,
The Dolphins famously had the 2 marks.
Kem's confusing me now. My mind don't go back that far, Kem. Go on.
No, bloody
Come
hell.
on, here we go. Kem's got to come up with a whopper here. I don't know what he's trying to say.
No, to be honest, man, I know. Well, I there was no video footage of it, but the last time you played football, mate, you fell over.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did fall over. Yeah,
I'm just saying. I want,
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Mark. You're wet.
Well, bad shoulder and all that.
It's all right. Yeah, all right.
And believe you me, I can't even play football, so you did better than me.
Mark's like, let's just end the show. That's my pit money gone.
That's what I was going to say next.
What? All right. No.
Cheers, Sheriff.
Well, yeah, right.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, I did fall over, unfortunately, people.
Mark Clayton and Mark Duper.
Yeah, no.
And there you go.
Never heard of them.
There you go.
Never heard of them either.
Get in.
There we go. I was at Wembley in '88.
Dan Marino.
No, I've heard of both of them, Dan Marino and
Joe
Montana.
There you go. See, I learned something new every day. I didn't follow it that closely. I just followed the Cowboys, and that was it.
I was at the Cowboys versus
I watched
Bears.
that on the telly, Ken. Yeah, I wasn't there, but I watched it on the telly.
Oh, with the fridge, I remember him as well. He was some sort of like monstrous.
Yeah,
he was a big old lad, wasn't he?
He only used to come on now and again when they were right close to the line thing.
He was in the defensive line, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he used to come on, get the ball, and just knock everyone out of the way and run over it.
That's it.
He was about 4 ton, wasn't he?
That's mad. He was a big old fella. I know.
Yeah. Yeah. So who do you think our next signing is going to be, chaps?
Please let it be Eze.
For me, it will be July the 1st, Kyle Walker-Peters on a free.
That'd be brilliant. Watch your meltdown. Absolutely.
Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't surprise me at all. I think he's going to sign.
I was trying to be positive, and I said, "Please let it be Eze."
No.
Would you take a Grealish or someone like that?
I'd have Grealish tomorrow.
Oh yeah, please.
But I'm not sure we pay his wages.
I don't think we'll buy anyone else on the left now, will we? Not unless Sonny goes.
Probably not. No, that's the thing, and Sonny would have to leave.
You might get someone on the right.
The thing is with Grealish, can you see Levy paying that money for his wages?
You're gonna probably need another midfielder out there on the right because
here we go.
If he plays two up front, right, and we don't buy another forward, I can see that being Solanke and Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I can just see Johnson playing off of Solanke.
That's his natural position. That's where he was at Paris.
If we don't get anyone else, but I think then that opens up a space over on the right hand side. I know you've got Kulu and he can play there, but
do we even know when Kulu's back? Because I'm seeing stuff that he might not be back till like halfway through the season.
Yeah,
January time.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's just all a mess at the moment, and it's just got to be sorted out over the next couple of months. But I don't want it to be one of them things where we start buying players, when pre-season's 3/4 of the way through. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. We need to be getting people in now so that they can go on the tour and they can be playing minutes, not necessarily every minute, but be playing minutes, integrated into what he wants to do rather than having to integrate in when everyone else is 6 weeks in front. Do you know what I mean?
The only thing I will say is the one bonus about having like someone like Thomas Frank in charge is that players coming in are not going to have to learn some crazy like tactic that the last manager had. Frank is pretty straightforward with his tactics. He's
just
not
play football.
Play football, defend. Do your job. Whereas, Ange was totally different. So I don't think there's as much of a learning curve for the players coming in, hopefully.
I hope you're right, Nige. I hope you're right. How long do you think it takes to get that sort of structure in place? You know, from the kamikaze of what was last season, and you know, is it almost like some of these players not have forgot to have been coached, but to go from not being coached as such, and this is how we're playing, to coaches and managers and whatever being on the training field, you know, showing them how they the boss showing them how they want them to play. You know, does it take? Would you say it takes a long time for that to? Is it a case of it's like, well, he needs a season to implement it, or is it like they get the gist of it in a few weeks?
You hope pre-season would. You would think Premier League footballers. You would hope pre-season would almost like knock them back into shape a little bit.
Yeah,
Because I don't know what you guys think, but having to play for Ange for 2 years, yes, we won a trophy, but those tactics is got to confuse you. So to
yeah,
actually play normal tactics again, I would think the players
yeah,
might take a couple of weeks for them to be like, and it wouldn't surprise me if at the start of the season, maybe the first 2 or 3 games, you might see times when the fullbacks are a bit high.
Yeah,
We might get caught out a few times, but I don't think it's going to take too long before we are in
and
some
so
sort of shape.
you're
Hopefully.
saying that Paro and Udogi ain't going to be like in the number 10 position.
You'd hope not.
Anyway, we have breaking news here in a minute. We just get to audios. We've got a young Irish striker joining the first team. Is there?
We have, yeah.
is that
Apparently.
Mason Melia that we bought?
I think so.
Yeah.
Now, I was watching this before we started the thing. I'll get to the next comment. England have obviously won the under-21 champion. They played Germany just before we started. England were 2-0 up.
Right.
They were 2-0 up. I was watching it on Channel 4, mate.
They won 3-2 after extra time.
Oh, so Germany pulled it back to 2-all.
Yeah.
England
won it.
Who scored the winner, Nige?
Rowe. J. Rowe, whoever he is. Never heard of him.
Don't know.
I know. I saw the first 2 goals.
Yeah, England played well from what I saw.
Yeah.
Let us know who J. Rowe is, guys, if anyone knows who he is.
I can look it up on my phone.
I'm sure he plays for.
I haven't heard of him.
Oh, they won the last one as well. Yeah, they did, didn't they?
Yeah, 2 in a row now.
Yeah, England, world champions. There you go. Bit like Tottenham.
Yeah.
Here we go. That's funny.
Plays for Norwich.
Oh.
Okay.
He plays
Can't
for
take
Norwich.
too long, but Ange was so bad that the players probably need counselling.
Hold on.
Yeah.
He plays. Sorry, the picture in the thing. He has played for Norwich by the look of it.
Right.
It says English professional footballer who plays as a winger for League One club Marseille and the England under-21 national team.
Oh, here we go.
30 minutes, 1 goal, 1 shot. Bang. 3-2.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he plays for Marseille. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Lee Payne, my Netherlands won the under-19s.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Fair dues. Fair dues.
Oh,
I always like watching the Dutch.
Yeah. Do you remember when they, who did they have in the team and they absolutely battered England? They scored that worldie from like virtually the byline.
Oh, that was back in 86, wasn't it? Marco van Basten, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dutch
Rijkaard, Gullit.
Yeah. Do you remember that goal that he scored, Mark?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Everybody.
Jesus
It was in the final as well, wasn't it? It was in the final against Russia.
My God, what a volley that was.
The players that the Dutch have had over the years, you look at Hullet and Van Basten.
Yep.
And was it Rijkaard? Yeah, oh my goodness.
Even Van Breukelen in goal. They just had some absolutely.
Do you remember that, Mark? Do you remember that with Rijkaard and Rudy Voller? Do
Yeah.
you remember when he
Oh,
spat all over him?
Spat
when
on
he
him, didn't
spat
he?
on his hair. Yeah. Oh my
Yeah, he
goodness.
spat all over him, didn't he? The dirty.
That was that the '90 World Cup
Don't know
or
if it
the
was
Was,
'86
yeah,
World
might
Cup?
have been 86. I can't
90.
remember.
It was a
I think
World Cup.
it was 1990. Yeah,
Was it 1990?
that's when.
Oh,
Yeah,
here we
that's
go.
when perms were all the fashion.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is obviously that lad, that J Rowe, whatever his name was.
Yeah. Yeah. Elliot scored again. Hutchinson.
He plays over in France, but he's English. Well, fair play to him.
Bonjour. Yes, yes, yes. I would consider Harvey Elliott. I think he's a great player.
Yeah.
Yeah. All day long.
Uh,
All day long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good stuff.
Mikey Moore was on the bench. Did he not come on then?
He got injured in the first game, didn't he? So
Oh, did he? Oh.
I
So
think
much
he's,
attention
Yeah,
I
maybe
paid
he's
to it.
Bank over, didn't he?
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm very patriotic Englishman. I didn't even know that Mikey Moore was there.
There you go. Now you do.
No sign of Will
Oh,
Lancashire.
no, he's
He needs
yeah.
another
Be
club.
interesting.
He's
Be interesting to see what he does.
he's got to go
Yeah.
somewhere, Nige, where he's played. This is the
Yeah.
problem. See, all these kids come through, right, and they play at whatever it is, if under 21 level for the youth team, right, and they're banging in the goals, But for me, if you're going to give a kid a chance, at least give him 6 or 7 games. Do you know what I mean? In a row, and I know that's difficult, but
Yeah.
mate, all this
Well, these
stop
guys-
start with people's careers, it ain't good. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Yeah.
And you're right, they get sent off to championship sides. And to be fair, they're not quite at that level. They should be like Donnelly went to a League One side.
Yeah.
That's where like Lancashire should be going. League
Yeah.
One,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
he plays every week.
Yeah. But,
I'll take him as
I
well.
mean, to be honest,
McAtee.
with
I'd
the
say,
youngsters,
he's a very good player, very good young. I know he's young, but he's very composed on the ball. Very composed on the ball. He's
Agreed.
he's
Yeah, I
very
like
good
him.
player, James McAtee.
Yeah.
Are Man City actively selling him then, McAtee?
We were linked with him earlier on this summer.
I like him,
but
Do you know what? I mean,
I'd take
don't
him.
get me wrong, Eze would be the signing, but I just don't think they're going to sign anyone else over in that sort of left wing type. I know he's not a left winger. He's again another sort of, he floats about, doesn't he? But I just got this feeling. I hope I'm wrong.
If we're
but I
going,
just
yeah.
think-
If we're going youth centric though, mate, then McAtee and Harvey Elliott are the kind of players we want to go for,
Yeah.
not players that have done nothing.
Yeah, you wouldn't look. Listen, both of them two surely walked straight into our first 11, didn't they?
yeah.
So certainly Harvey Elliott does, yeah.
Yeah, central attacking midfielder. I like him, McAtee.
This is it. Window shopping FC.
Yeah, as usual.
What we do best.
I've just seen the next comment. There's some bloody names in there.
Oh yeah,
We'll bring it up.
yeah.
Look at the list of the names here. Cruyff,
Van der Ven.
Van Basten.
Yeah.
Can't even say the next one. Krul, Gullet.
It's not that. You can even go back further than that, I mean, I know he's got Cruyff in there and that, and Nayskins. The 74 Dutch team. I mean, I was only a nipper, but that was when I first started watching football. And then, as you get older, you watch back, didn't you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some of the players that were about then, like Gerb Müller. You know what I mean? For Germany and like these were proper players, that stood out.
It's just a pity these Dutch players didn't all play kind of at the same time. I mean, I know some of them did in the '88 thing, which was what they won. But you look at even like Jan Wouters, who played, I think he was a defender, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And someone just said Burkamp. Burkamp was absolute quality, wasn't he?
And he was a Tottenham fan.
And he was a Tottenham fan and went.
He was a Tottenham fan, but he went there. And we had a chance to sign him, didn't we?
Imagine if we had Burkamp.
Yeah, because
Can you imagine?
you got he did Birdcamp came from Ajax, if I believe.
Yeah.
Ajax have
Think
always
so,
had very close ties to Tottenham, haven't they?
yeah.
With the Jewish thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Dennis Bergkamp was a Tottenham supporter living in Holland, and he joined that lot. And we could have had him.
Shocking.
Unbelievable. And Levy wasn't even at the club then, I don't believe.
So
But it
we
still
can't
is
blame
fault.
you.
It's
This
still
is
his
Still is
fault.
for you.
It's still
This
his
is
fault.
another thing, like Ron was saying, you know, like we was talking about our because of the inverted fullbacks and all that, and how Madison's space was being taken up all the time. You might see a totally different James Maddison this season.
Can't wait to see Madison
Do
this
you know what I
this
mean?
season.
It's yeah.
This is one era as well. Cruyff and Bergkamp, they were both big Hoddle fans. Well, I don't think Cruyff was at the beginning, but after we played him in '84, he certainly was.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with
That
that
is
as well.
definitely true. Yeah,
That
that
is
is.
definitely true.
Yeah. Agreed. It's not football's not the same as it used to be, is it?
No.
To be honest.
Hang on.
Ron, we were just saying that Bergkamp was a player. That was all. I mean, surely you must agree with that. I'm not disputing
Yeah.
about Man United, but
I think this is a message for you here, mate.
played for them or not. Night, Lise. I'll speak to you tomorrow, sweetheart.
Right, have we got anything else to talk about, or are we done?
No, I think we're about done tonight. If everyone else is done, anything else to say, Nige?
Just I hope this week we start signing players, and thanks for joining us, guys. It's been a good show.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, great
Thanks
show.
to everyone in the chat for being here. Bit of an impromptu show, guys, wasn't it? But I've enjoyed it. I don't know about you guys. It's
been nice. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, brilliant
Yeah,
stuff.
thanks, Lee.
Thanks,
hang on.
Lee. Yeah, thanks to
Just
everyone.
be patient. Just be patient.
Thanks to everyone in the chat for being here. Thanks to
Are we allowed to do that, mate? Because it's not really our show, is it?
Yeah, thanks, Nige.
Yeah,
and because Nige has got to come in with, and it's a good night from him now at the end. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, are we doing a three-way thing now?
Yeah, it's a freeway. It's a
Hey,
freeway.
we're having a threesome.
Of course.
Yeah, it's a threesome. It's a threesome.
Right, that's for Mud in the Pub. That's a separate show.
Anyway, on that note, Big Bad Rom, it's a good night from him.
No, you're pointing the wrong way, mate.
It's a good night from him.
And it's a good night. And it's a good night from him.
And it's a good night.
It's a good night from them.
There we go.